Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have a special show for you today. Look, normally I talk about sex and sex advice on this channel all the time, but I also like money, and I like making money, and I think you should all like making money. And there is no more explosive way to make money in this the current financial climate we're in than cryptocurrencies. And we have two experts in the game from Cultivate Crypto and Delacoste Crypto to join you in the house to teach us a little bit about cryptocurrencies and to plug their course Cultivate Crypto, where they actually teach you guys how to make money in the current market. So yeah, Charlie, Miguel, maybe you guys could get, for anyone who's, because the last time you were on my channel was what, like
a year ago?
A bit over a year ago, I think.
Yeah.
So it's been a while. So mate, for this, and we've the channel's grown since then. The audience has grown. So maybe those who aren't familiar with what you guys do, and maybe plug your YouTube channels and whatnot, and let everybody know. I guess your expertise.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, much appreciated, and it's good to be back speaking with you again. I think last time we actually had like a pretty awesome conversation with you and one of your buddies who understands cryptocurrency very well in addition to yourself. So we had a really good chat. I really enjoyed that one. So definitely wanted to come back again and join you guys over here. Just to let people know about our channel. So my channel is Cultivate Crypto on YouTube, and basically about 5 days a week from Tuesday through Friday, and then once on Sunday. We have live streams telling you guys about what's happening in the cryptocurrency space and how to make money. And as Sterling said, we're currently promoting our crypto mindset course for Q1 of 2022 to help people prepare for what we see as a pretty bullish market here in crypto. Right now, the prices are down, but people tend to come into the market right when prices are high, and then the prices drop, right? Versus what they should be doing is they should be coming in the market when the prices are low and the prices have more time to pump. So we pretty much teach people on that. And we've been doing that since 2019 on my channel. We have over 500 plus videos to help you guys get situated in the current cryptocurrency space. And me and DCC, Dollar Cost Crypto here, we do a show every Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern called Moon Gang. And then we get all the crypto guys together and talk about the markets. But DCC also has his own channel as well, if you want to kind of mention that.
Sure. Yeah. My name is Miguel, and I run the channel Dollar Cost Crypto, obviously. And I've been in the crypto space for 6 years. Found this lovely gentleman because of MLD, and we ended up just super team Voltroning together and creating Moon Gang. And then from there, decided to create the world's largest cryptocurrency course. Yeah,
it is. That's not any kind of an understatement either. Like because I remember. I mean, maybe you've evolved the course since when we collaborated like a year ago. But I remember then it was incredibly intensive. Like, and you guys maybe give guys a breakdown of exactly like the layout of the course, because from what I understand, you can take somebody who's a complete newbie at this, right? And then you can kind of baby step them all the way through. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's 100% correct. So we do 15 live webinars and about 5 plus recorded webinars that people can do when they come into the course. So essentially the process is Sterling has a link that you guys can use to help support Sterling's channel. Go through that link. You can purchase the course. It is a one-time fee of $9.97. Once you get into the course, right, once you purchase the course, then you will be introduced to a Telegram group via an email invitation. And so Telegram is an encoded messaging platform where basically, since it's encrypted, the messages are relatively, not anonymous, but just, safer than if you were to be doing it, let's say, on a public forum. And so we keep the privacy for our users as much as we can. And then in that forum, we have last quarter, we had 1,700 people join the course, 1,708 to be exact. And when people come into the Telegram right now, there are already 2 of the 5 pre-recorded videos that you guys can already watch, telling you exactly what you need to do to get set up. So if you don't have any cryptocurrency currently and you don't have any exchanges set up for purchasing cryptocurrency, we show you in those videos exactly how to do that, how to take care of your security of your coins, all the very basics of what everybody needs to do to get in. We also include a video of what not to do, right? Things to avoid in the cryptocurrency space. Because I think when people come into this space, they get lured by kind of some shady practices, to be honest. where, like, for example, some people take high leverage because they want to try to increase their money faster. We tell people what the dangers of that are, and how to avoid those types of things. So we give you kind of the warnings as well as the basics right away in the chat. We also have a ton of people who return to the course frequently. So we have a guy from our Cultivate Crypto team called Greg, who's in the chat helping you guys. So anybody who needs like a helping hand, there's always people here to be helping you. We currently have, I think, before we started doing our shows today, we had about 654 people who've already decided to join the Q1 course. So there's already a bunch of people in there that are figuring things out for the new people. And then there's already people who are in there who are advanced, who are giving good tips and tricks for people who want more advanced stuff as well. So we cater to just about everybody. And since the market is moving so fast, there's almost nobody who knows everything about cryptocurrency, right? So by having a hive mind group of people who are continuously sharing research information, and then that just basically makes everybody smarter. So your net worth is your network, and this helps to bring a network of people together, every single quarter. And we don't ever take away the crypto mindset course chats. I can continue to have that network beyond the quarter as well. And then we have the 15 recorded webinars, live webinars, and they're starting from January 21st at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern every single day. And then we end the webinars on January 31st. And so we have 15 live webinars within that period of time, a few break days, as well as some other pre-recorded content that comes out during that time. So plenty of time to ask questions. It's kind of like a crypto boot camp. We turn on the information. By the time we get to the end of the course, man, we're just like the level of the people who get into the course, right, just rises so high. It's awesome. And I would say, generally speaking, for anybody who's new to the course, it might be a little bit overwhelming, but you have the entire quarter to continue to review the recorded webinar material. So is there anything else you wanted to add to that, Miguel?
No, you give a pretty good explanation. It's just, it's a fire hose of information, but we've done this for almost 2 years now, and we've gotten it down to a really fine art. It's a fine science of getting somebody who doesn't know anything about cryptocurrencies into quite a high level, basically into intermediate advance, and then from there having them essentially get their gut feeling in the market after a few years as well.
Yep. And there's a couple of questions in the chat here already. I wanted to kind of jump in on, because it's so this first question here was, is this a one-time fee for life? And you mentioned like they're sort of grandfathered into like the Telegram chat. That was correct, right?
So yeah, they basically have access to the Q1 Telegram chat for life. But in the future quarters, we basically make a new Telegram chat each quarter. So you get to stay with your alums from each quarter. But if you want to have the most relevant, up-to-date information each quarter, then it's best that you continue to evolve along with us.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the thing to realize with this kind of course is like, if you follow their advice, I know for a fact, because I have a general idea of how successful you two have been over the course of this bull market. If you just follow their advice, you're going to be getting that money back very, very easily.
Yep, definitely, 100%.
If you just listen to these two gentlemen, because I've personally taken advice from you guys over the course of last year, which has made me some money. And there's someone in this chat actually just mentioned, where was it? Cum Rocket. I legit did. I made money off 2 different like adult industry coins this year.
Interesting.
Really?
I made money off Cum Rocket, and I made money off Spank.
Spank
Spank Chain. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I made a few G's off both of those. I was like, cool. So it was kind of funny because my friend who we chatted with last year, he's more about like the conservative, like not conservative coins, but coins that actually have utility and have like good code and good white papers. And he made a few bets last year on like things that were like solid technically, but they just didn't have the hype, and so they didn't really move anywhere. And then I ape into a couple of these like adult coins, and they make me money.
Hey man, that's the beauty of this market, right? Like we were talking about this on our show a little bit earlier, right? It's like, yeah, you can buy Bitcoin and Ethereum and use it as a long-term savings account, right? You're going to do very, very well with those long-term for sure. But if you want the gains, right, you have to take a little bit of a risk and you have to go out and try things. And, I do think, actually the adult industry it lines up with crypto very, very well. I think they're both industries that, take innovation, right? Because in the early days of the internet, right, people were like, oh my God, crypto is just for pornographers. It's for, drug dealers, for criminals, all this shit, And then by the end of the decade in the 90s, right, everybody was using email, everybody's using the internet. It's the same thing here that we're seeing with crypto, right? The beginning days, it's just for, Silk Road, drug dealers, pornographers, all this stuff. And it's like, those are the people who actually innovate markets, which is interesting. So,
it is, yes.
You can look at it from a negative point of view, but there's actually a lot of opportunity within there.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, like for people who might not know this, like the adult industry pioneered, like the reason we use like DVDs instead of Blu-ray,
right,
is the adult industry. The reason we use VHS instead of Betamax is the adult industry. Right. It was basically like which one of the two, you had two, and like Betamax was actually better than VHS. Like the technology was better, but the adult industry went with VHS, and so that's where the entire market went. And then same with DVDs versus Blu-ray. That's exactly right. And now like the adult industry kind of pioneered, obviously like
streaming.
Things like Pornhub were copying YouTube, but that kind of like streaming stuff, moving to like online subscription sites, that kind of stuff, again pioneered by the adult industry. And now they're diving into like cryptos and NFTs and stuff with like models. There's a ton of that going on in the industry. It's a big push for it.
Yeah, we're kind of like, the NFT market is kind of ripe for innovation as well, because that area, I would say it's kind of viewed as like where Bitcoin was maybe in like 2011, 2012 is kind of like magic internet money, right? Yeah. It's like just purely speculative and stuff like that. So I think that is a huge area. We, in our first course that we did for the Crypto Mindset course in Q4 of 2020, we were introducing NFTs to guys, and we were just telling them like, hey guys, like there's opportunity here if you are an NFT creator, right? If you're a person who's creating them, there's a lot of money that can be made. And so like immediately some of the guys were like, I'm going to go make money off these Sims. I'm going to start getting some models, make some NFTs of some chicks and start taking money from the Sims. And the Sim economy is real. So, you can definitely go ahead and do that. And so I think for anybody in your position or other people in that industry, there's a huge cash cow right there, right? So
yeah, just being the person who like mints the NFT to start with, and then puts it out. Like if you're the person who can mint it at the very, very beginning, you're like the risk is so minimal,
right?
Because you're minting it for like nothing compared to what it's gonna like. As soon as it goes onto a market, it's gonna 10x pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think we had one guy who was actually an artist who decided to take that information and kind of just run with it full steam. I don't remember exactly how much Ethereum he made in 2021, but I think it was at least like 20 or 30 Ethereum.
It was 20, 30 Ethereum plus. Yeah, he created something called. So we were having some talks in the background, and he basically created something called Pet Rocks.
Okay.
And he created really high. It's pretty advanced actually. He created these rocks in a 3D generated world that were super live, realistic rocks with like little googly, with a little like little googly eyes, and then just put different types of outfits on them, and they sold like hotcakes. Basically, people would put them as their profile pictures and stuff, and they sold very well. And 20, 30 Ethereum's no joke. That's a lot, a good amount of cheddar.
No, that's nothing to scoff at, man. I like that.
There's a lot of people's annual salary.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like, there's a lot of people in this space, especially like if you have like the energy and the time and the focus for this, like you can make and you can pay attention to it. Because I think that's kind of like there's two kinds of strategies with the crypto market. The way I see it is like there's like the buy and hold, like you buy into like things like your Bitcoins, your Ethereums, things that they're not going away. Like they're going to be around in the next bull market. They're sticking like, or maybe even Chainlink's another example of one that's probably going to stick around, right? And you get into these with the way at least I get into these with the premise of like, okay, it's my money. I would rather have my money sitting in something like this that is going to give me a return in 5 years than having it sitting in my bank account where every single time the Federal Reserve prints more money, my money's becoming more and more worthless, right?
Yeah.
Maybe because there was somebody dropped in the chat here a second ago. Where was it? Of course, we saw this comment, which was crypto's a scam. So
with the NFT picture.
Yeah, with an NFT picture, yeah.
Or that could very well be.
Let's kind of put this to rest. But again, sort of aiming this at more people who are brand new to crypto and don't really understand like the inherent value in it. I mean, we talked about this last time on my show, the idea of it kind of being like digital gold in a way, but it's like the idea of it being this sort of store of wealth. Can you maybe elaborate that for people who are kind of new to this space?
Yeah, Miguel, if you want to jump on that one.
Yeah, sure. So I'll use something like Ethereum or Bitcoin as an example, right? So as of right now, just to give some raw numbers right now, we're probably just a slightly under 1% of the total population of the world in cryptocurrencies. And right now we're on track at the end of the decade to be somewhere close to what I would say 15 to 20% of the population. So in the next 10 years, we're going to get about, 1/5 of the whole world population. So you would think that the prices would increase, tenfold, right? But it's more, the way systems are valued, they're valued users squared. So if there's 10 times more people, it's really like 100 times more money, basically, because you're taking money where it's earning 2% and it starts earning on average in cryptocurrencies. You can earn somewhere between 15 to 600% APR effectively on the money, and nowhere in the world can you earn that kind of APY. Basically, I mean, in the banks, you stick your dollars in the bank on a high interest bank account, savings account, and it's 2% if you're lucky at redneckbanking.com, which is actually real.
Yeah, exactly right.
So it's so what's going on is these coins kind of follow network effects. So as more people start using them and have trust in them, the value starts accruing, and people leave their savings in there. The coin values start going up. Even there is fluctuations in the price, but what's going on is that crypto is growing faster than the internet. So it took until now to get about 60-70% of the world on the internet, and right now, I would say equal amount is own cell phones. And what's going on is that the internet took about, from like 70s till now to get fully adopted, and cell phones in larger part, everyone ended up getting a cell phone basically from like 2005 till now. Basically, we're growing twice as fast as cell phones, right?
Damn.
It's breakneck speed, basically, because everyone has a money problem. So being able, if you have access to an Ethereum, you have access to dollars anywhere in the world, because if your cryptocurrency is in your MetaMask or in your Trezor wallet, if you have access to a phone, you have access to your money anywhere in the world, as long as you have your passwords. And it's nowhere in history have you been able to have that much freedom of capital ever in the world, right? Like you can't even travel through an airport with more than $10,000 before they start asking you questions. Why do you have so much cash, right? You can go into an airport and fly with $1 billion in your head.
Yeah. So that was a big premise for me that got me into it. Like I'm kind of more of a libertarian leaning kind of guy, right. And for me it's like I trust myself more than I trust a bank.
Hell yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, with crypto you are your own bank, and it's like as long as I have the ability to remember a password, which I do, it's like, okay, well now I don't need them anymore. I don't have to. I don't have to have somebody telling me who I can and can't send money to. I don't have to do not going to put a stop on my account and stop me from spending money here and there because of a suspicious transaction for my own safety. It's like it's my goddamn money. Let me spend it however I want.
Yeah, exactly.
And crypto really solves that problem.
Yeah, 100%. And the one thing that's interesting right now, right, is that people in terms of like traditional asset owners, right, they're looking at gold and they're like, this isn't doing anything right now, right? It's like going up a little bit, right? Maybe like it's at like $1,800 per ounce right now. Maybe it'll go to like $2,000 per ounce this year. Great. Yay. But with crypto, right, basically it goes up like 200% on average every single year with just Bitcoin, right? And like you said, when we see this as like a digital store of value, then when people are dropping gold and buying Bitcoin, that's going to increase the crypto market cap. And then with what Miguel's mentioning about yield, you can start basically doing what the banks do in terms of what they call rehypothecation. Basically, what the banks do is they take your money, they loan it out for you, right? They make money on that. They compound interest on that. They don't give you any of the compound interest. And your dollar that you're holding essentially becomes more and more worthless over time. And instead, right, you get into an asset class that is appreciating way more than the dollar is inflating over time. So you are gaining dollars, but really what's important is gaining crypto, gaining coins, which is why I named my channel Cultivate Crypto, right? You want to compound your coins as much as possible. And then over time, right, not only will you beat inflation, but you'll crush it. And your value of what you worked for to get that money will sustain itself, if not grow. Versus, if you put it in the dollars and you just hold it there, your money is literally decaying over time. And so we actually have people who have taken the course who are in countries like Venezuela, which, have fiat currency problems like crazy, and they can't outpace it. Basically, they're, slaves to the fiat system to an extent, as are most people elsewhere in the world. But when they get into crypto, they almost laugh at the volatility of crypto because the volatility of their fiat currencies in their native country is so much more that crypto looks, like no problem. And so the yield that Miguel was talking about being a couple 100%, right? That's like a breath of fresh air. And one thing that we're going to talk about heavily in the crypto mindset course for Q1, which we haven't talked about. We started talking about in the Q4 course, but we haven't talked about so deeply, is what we call GameFi or game finance, which is the kind of the the buzzword right now is the metaverse, right? With people going into the metaverse, living a second life there, that whole concept that, Facebook's trying to push. But if you look at it as in GameFi, right, basically you get paid to play video games, right? So they have these play to earn models. They used to have the play for free and then monetize within the game model. Now it's moving over to play to earn, so that even the players, when they come into the game and they play it for free, they can also earn money. And so, I think it's kind of crazy that you can make more money, playing a video game that's like, maybe like 90s technology and crypto versus, actually putting your money in a traditional asset or bank, right? So like, I think your financial analyst will tell you, hey, buy this 401k package, hold it there for 40 years and you'll not be rich, but you'll be able to retire. And what a lot of baby boomers are finding out is that their 401ks have basically kind of gone to shit. And they can't retire. There's a lot of these guys, when they retire, they've been, promised this retirement package for such a long time. They're actually, I say this jokingly, but for some people it's true. Like they basically just got to eat cat food, right? When they're in retirement to some extent, it's pretty brutal. Versus crypto, right? Like if you focus on this asset class continuously over the next 10 years, in my opinion, you could basically retire by the end of this decade. So that's not even a joke, because me and Miguel, we've been paying attention to crypto even during the downtrends, especially during the downtrends over the last 5 years. And if we wanted to, right, we could just walk away, go to Dubai, go to Maldives or whatever, and just retire and just chill, right? But we saw so much. Like for us, we had to do it the hard way. We basically had to go and filter through all the bullshit information out here on YouTube and Twitter in crypto and figure this whole thing out. Versus with the crypto mindset course, what we try to do is distill what usually takes people about 4 or 5 years to find out and put that into one course where you can get that information within 2 weeks. Obviously, we tell people that you want to, do spaced repetition learning. You want to, look at this stuff and, come to as many of the live webinars as possible. But more realistically, it's going to take you about, I would say, if you're on the fast track, it'll take you 1 quarter for reviewing. And if you, are basically a person who's somewhat busy, I would say about 6 months to a year to really review the information over time. So you always have access to the webinars that we recorded. And so that way, even if you don't join any future courses, you just join 1 quarter, then you can review that information over the course of the next year. And I would say for most people who do put in the work, by the end of 2022, you can basically be comfortable with crypto as an asset class in this industry. So that's why Miguel said we're the most successful and largest cryptocurrency course out here, is because nobody else is doing this, right? Most of these people, they have a scarcity mindset, even in crypto. They're like, I view everybody else as competition and I'm not going to help anybody else. I'm just going to try to dump my coins on other people and steal their money essentially. So you have a lot of shadiness out there, but I would say it's kind of like the Pareto principle, 80-20. 80% of the people out here in crypto, are trying to basically steal your Bitcoin versus 20% of people out here actually giving good information.
Well, we have a quick question here from Tushar Moore. He says, hey, selling, love your stuff with Rollo. Charlie, can you talk about the future of crypto in India, if you know? Have taken some Phantom for FTM for 2022.
Nice.
Yeah, India is kind of an interesting bed for crypto because in India, the government really does not want cryptocurrency.
Yeah, didn't they outlaw it or something?
They tried to, right? They said,
tried to, yeah.
Yeah, every country is, to some extent has tried to suppress cryptocurrency, but India, they literally were just like, we want this fully banned. And right now, I think the Federal Reserve, the central banks of India, actually are trying to continue to get it banned. But there's a few people within India, they understand that this is the way the world's going, and so are starting to have politicians kind of go rogue from the central bank a little bit and say, if we don't get into this, we're going to get left behind. And India actually, right, in terms of technology, has some of the best technological capabilities in terms of like coders and stuff like this. They just have a ton of people who are working in that industry. They could be a powerhouse in crypto if they decided to, but it's kind of the people versus the government. And this is actually, similar in other countries, but the people of India, right, they've shown that if they do a peaceful resistance in the past, they've been successful at defeating the government, right? So if the people in India want crypto, which it seems like they do, they've been actually, even though it's been quote unquote outlawed or the regulation is not clear, they've still been buying crypto and using crypto. They try to keep it quiet. But it's really the battle between them that's going to take place. So I think India is going to be a while before crypto is heavily adopted. But even in Japan, right? So they were friendly towards Bitcoin in 2017. They made it not legal tender, but I forget, basically they made Bitcoin legal to use, but it's not quite tender. It's somewhere in between there. Basically, I can't remember how they describe it. But in Japan, they like their regulations and they like to control these industries, but they understood basically we have to do this. And one thing that is coming out as well around the world is central bank digital currencies. So digital currencies based on the blockchain that Bitcoin created, but in a centralized format. And Japan, they're one of their lead economists. I think it was like maybe just after the pandemic or I think it was early 2021, something like that. They basically said, we don't need a central bank digital currency. We don't need to be getting into this digital field. And about 6 months later, he says, if we don't get into central bank digital currencies, we're going to not have a sovereign currency. The Japanese yen will no longer exist, right? And so I think a lot of countries are starting to realize this. And so the world's going digital, whether we like it or not. So India might just be a laggard in that regard.
Isn't China heavily pushing its own kind of centralized digital currency right now?
Oh yeah, they're pushing for the digital, and it's honestly pretty scary what they're doing, because if once they get rid of all their paper currency, it's all digital, they can erase your money.
Yeah.
It's really scary actually, because they have obviously you've heard of the social credit system and stuff. So it's like if you say one negative thing, boop, your score goes down, and at a certain point, your threshold so low that you basically will starve to death unless someone gives you food, basically. And it's actually really, really scary. And I can see a sort of version of that happening in the States. I don't think that the United States will ever get to that level. But it's more of like it has to compete against that, basically, because when you do have complete control of the system, you can push money towards certain things, which is country versus country sort of thing. It's geopolitics, basically. With India, right? India could be a powerhouse. I mean, honestly, just technologically, we're a lot more aligned with India anyway. But just from all the projects that I've worked on and in the background and stuff, they use a lot of Indian developers. It's pretty rampant, actually. It's like 80%. 80% of the projects, at least I've only been a part of and stuff, they've outsourced a lot of development to Indian developers, and they're making a lot of money over there. So it's quite a lot of money over there. But it is the sort of thing where it's like the 1% really in India are making quite a lot of money, which is the same thing around the world, basically. But India is 1 billion people. That's 1 billion people. So at some point, the levy is going to break over there, and they're going to be a huge powerhouse. But they're allowing a lot of the smaller countries right now to actually kind of catch up. Like something like El Salvador, their president went full BTC maxi, which is pretty hilarious. And he's like he's mining Bitcoin right now off of volcanoes, which is pretty hilarious.
So he's like using like the thermal energy from a volcano to run mine. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's like if you were to tell people that like a few years ago, like, hey, we're gonna be mining Bitcoin with volcanoes, people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this is crazy. But and man, it's happening.
Yeah.
I think you froze up there. There you are.
That was me. Didn't China like stop all its Bitcoin mining this year as well? Didn't they kind of outlaw Bitcoin mining recently?
Yeah, in the beginning of 2021, they basically said like, hey, we want to go towards a central bank digital currency thing. They're rolling it out during the Olympics here, the Winter Olympics here in February. And so they're like, we want complete control over our currency. We don't want the dollar coming into our economy. We just want the digital yuan basically. And we want Bitcoin out of here. So they took away mining. And that was partially part of the reason for Bitcoin declining in the summer, right? There was some turbulence with the mining basically, and a lot of miners in China had to sell either Bitcoin or their mining rigs in order to basically keep above board or keep afloat. And but a lot of that mining went to America. I think America now is about like 33% of all cryptocurrency mining right now for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's going to be here to stay basically, and it's going to be in a free economy, not an authoritarian state.
That I think that was because China used to hold the majority of all the Bitcoin mining power, and now they don't. For me personally, that's kind of like a relief. I'm actually like happy with that turn of events.
Me too. Yeah, I'm really happy with that.
Exactly.
And they further shot themselves in the foot because then they started authorities in China started chasing people into Kazakhstan and into Mongolia because the miners started. There's pictures of. I mean, it's I didn't believe it until I saw the pictures. Imagine like a rice peasant. Like imagine like a peasant with a backpack made of straw holding all these Bitcoin miners crossing borders.
Yeah.
Like, so they went into Kazakhstan and into a lot of them went to Kazakhstan and a lot of them went into Mongolia. And then they started going into those countries to shut those operations down as well.
Wow.
Because those countries started having rolling blackouts because obviously the mining operations of like China coming into these smaller countries who don't have as developed like infrastructure system.
Drain the power grid.
Blowing the power grid, yeah, basically. But that should let you know. But the reason that it was so popular in China as well is because there's capital controls. If you have a little machine like this that makes even $100 a month of Bitcoin, that's $100 the government doesn't know about, and you can sell that on the black market. That is very valuable money and stuff. I mean, I don't want to blow up some people's spots and stuff, but there is like overseas projects people do that they overpay for. And it is legitimate, but a portion of that project is mining cryptocurrencies in secret. So it's ways how big businessmen in China start secretly building up a little bit of a little nest egg if they ever have to run away from the government, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's every person who I know who has like good serious money kind of does the same thing. Like they're all doing like people with money are always trying to like hide it, put it somewhere where it's going to make more money for them, or get it away from the government's hands. It's like, but the regular person doesn't do that because it's like you get to a certain point, and okay, like once your rent and your food is all covered, and you don't have to worry about like the basics, like, and you start making real money, then the problem becomes not like, oh, can I afford to buy this meal this week, or can I afford to go to this restaurant or do this? The problem becomes, how do I stop losing all this cash that I've accumulated and worked hard for? Because the government's going to try and take every fucking penny of it as they can.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so you see a lot of people trying to exactly. So you see a lot of people try to go towards self-sovereignty, right? Where they're like, I literally, am considering, like giving up U.S. citizenship in the next few years because of, taxation there is absolutely ridiculous. There's a book called The Sovereign Individual, basically, which has been predicting both digital currency as well as people basically going to the parts of the world in terms of where they're going to get taxed the cheapest, because I think the governments are getting a little bit too crazy with how much they're taxing people, and it's really not. It's not allowing businesses to thrive. Like entrepreneurship, right? Is like, yeah, go out there and be an entrepreneur. Go out there and try to be somebody. But then when you actually go and do that, they're like, and give us like half your paycheck.
Yeah, and pay for this license, and pay for that registration, and pay for this, and pay for that, and like we're gonna take all the cream off the top, so you just get by, but we make plenty of money, and that's
take everything.
It's really like it's a. I mean, we've seen this over the last couple of years now with all the COVID stuff. It's this real power grab. It's all just it's all just governments looking to exert as much power and control as they possibly can over their population, and crypto is directly in opposition to that. Yeah. So of course they're afraid of it.
It's sovereignty. You run your own money. I mean, that's the most beautiful thing. Like we teach all our students when you obviously we tell people do not buy on Robinhood, buy on.
I love it.
Same, bro. Same.
You're in the right place. You're in the right place.
You're definitely in the right place. Right?
There you go.
But if you can actually to go off of like one of the original points that when we were talking about like why cryptocurrencies go up in price so much, this is pretty crazy, right? So like, do you remember maybe what was it like six months ago, a year ago, when they were talking about GameStop and stuff? It was like GameStop was in the news all the time. Yep. One of the reasons why that didn't work, it would have worked, but what happened is you don't own your stocks actually. You technically do own them, but you don't actually hold custody of them, basically. Yeah. And this is a big problem, right? Because most stocks in the stock market, especially if they're like high growth stocks, they have no dividend, which is fine. Hey, the price goes up. That's all that matters, right? But most stocks, especially if it's a stock that's really in demand, those stocks actually are worth quite a lot of money because people will pay a lot of premium in order to long or short them. So what's going on is you buy some GameStop. Cool, you have some GameStop. Hopefully the price goes up. But in the background, the company who actually holds that stock certificate, they're loaning your stock to the people who long and short that stock. And then they're making money off of your money. So these companies who are holding all your stocks are making billions of dollars of money that you should be making. So like a person who has Tesla, so someone who's just like all hype stocks, right? Someone who just all Tesla and GameStop should have been paying 100% APY for lending it. So if you had actually held Tesla and like GameStop and stuff, I could have lent my Tesla and GameStop to like to a third party lender or something, and then they could have lent it out for borrowing and lending, and you could have made additionally on the price increases, you could have made like 20, 30, 40% on your stock, which is a lot of money because the demand was that high. So during that short squeeze where they were trying to pump the price of GameStop to go up so Citadel and a bunch of these other big stockholders like go bankrupt, they just limited the supply and they just didn't lend it out, and then that's why the whole thing failed. Basically, they didn't get to bankrupt the guys because they wouldn't let themselves get bankrupted.
Yeah,
but they're playing a rigged game.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. And you could see this actually in oil as well, right? Like oil right now is basically, it went negative, right? In early, I believe that was, early 2020, right? When we had the pandemic crash, oil actually did go negative. And it was the first time I think it went negative in its history. And it's the lowest it's ever been. When you try to short oil, right? And they don't let you, essentially. So you won't make any money basically betting for the banking system in the traditional areas to fail. But they'll basically keep themselves afloat and push you down. So it's ridiculous.
Exactly. And this is another reason why I'm a big fan of crypto, because it's like, okay, all the big players in like the stock market, like we just discussed, like you just mentioned, like they're playing a rigged game.
Yep. And
for the little guy, there has never been a greater vehicle for increasing your wealth than cryptocurrency. Like because of the speed of it, because of the ease of accessibility to it, the lack of restrictions. Like, like no one can stop you. No one can no one can restrict what you're doing, what you're trading, what you buy, what you sell. It's all entirely up to you. And they don't have the power to stop you from doing that.
Correct.
And so like that's why I love it so much. It's this giant fuck you to the system, which is basically rigged to bring down like the average person.
Yep.
There was a quick here we go from super chat from Brian Katrine. He says, any thoughts on Polyswarm NCT listing on Coinbase at noon?
Yeah, it's interesting. I looked up the coin. I haven't actually heard of this coin before. I think it's rated like number 367 in terms of like market cap ranking against other coins. But it looks like it's already been listed on Coinbase because the price is like absolutely skyrocketing on this thing. Usually what we see on these types of Coinbase listings is, if a low cap coin will get listed on Coinbase or other major exchanges, its price will go up. But at some point, what goes up must come down to some extent. So I think people will, be careful, basically don't chase the pump, but essentially wait for several weeks after the listing. And then once things settle down, if it's still holding up pretty good, then actually it might gain quite a bit of adoption. So I think that's definitely
because what people have to kind of understand is that, like, okay, if a small market cap coin gets listed on an exchange, right? There's already a bunch of people. There was already a bunch of people who like bought the coin first, right? The insiders, the development team, maybe the owner, the creators of the coin, and like the few early investors and stuff, right? So the moment that thing gets listed on an exchange, if you jump into the hype of that thing, all you're actually doing is pumping their bags because they're the ones selling the coin to you. So like that, and once you kind of understand that, it's like, oh, okay, like you got to take your emotions out of this stuff. Same with like trading stocks and stuff. You got to take your emotions completely out of it and try to, like, I have a friend in Miami who he calls himself the Warren Buffett of shitcoins.
I want to meet this guy. It sounds fun.
He's incredible. He's a doctor too. He's legitimately like a med student. Like he's doing his internships. But this year, like, so he made something like $1.5 million off of Shiba Inu in the middle of the year. Yes. And then over the course of the year, he made like 140K off like 2 or 3 other shit coins during this year. But he has an entire like he's explained the strategy to me and stuff. It's like, it's not that complicated. It's really just like looking for something like with shit coins in particular, right? Looking for things that are like really memeable, and can really get hype around them and be funny and be like and kind of play into that like that Twitter space, and that have like a low under 100 mil market cap that you can jump into early, place your bet. Like he never because if you got like if you have $1 million, well then a $10,000 like bet on something is a risk you're willing to take.
Oh hell yeah!
And so like you can turn that into 100K like, but you can place like a bunch of those bets and lose 9 out of 10, and you make the 10th one, you're still going to make money. You know what I mean? So it's about like understanding understanding what your risk tolerance is. Okay, maybe your risk tolerance is $100, maybe it's $1,000, whatever it is. But you can play that game, but you got to take your emotions out of it and understand like, okay, when I like here's my exit point, like I 2x, okay, I recover my funds and then I'm riding free. It's like a free lottery ticket.
Yeah, exactly. And so one of the strategies that we tell people in the course when they're doing those types of things with like the higher risk assets, right, is like take your original money off the table when you hit anywhere between like 2 to 5x. Yeah. Right. And so, for example, let's say you bought $10,000 worth of Shiba Inu in early 2021 or something like that, right? And you're like, okay, this thing, once it does the 2 to 3x, right, I already made my original money back. Plus, I can maybe take out a little bit extra, and then the rest, it's like you said, casino chips. Just let it ride, and see where it takes you. And people become multimillionaires that way for sure.
Oh, absolutely, man. We're gonna have to wrap up shortly. I've got a meeting I've got to go to. I'm just gonna read out this last couple of super chats. Danny, thank you for the $10. Says, I'm starting to learn about crypto. I'm feeling pretty lost currently. What funny is now I keep getting DMs by fakes pretending to be Charlie on my Instagram. That's how you know you've made it, Charlie. When you're getting fakes. Dude, I tell you, I got my Instagram account taken down a few weeks ago.
Whoa!
Oh, really?
It got mass reported. I got taken down for impersonating myself. because like somebody spammed me with a bunch of bots. But I got it back
Yeah.
now. But it was just like until you get that little like blue check mark, that can keep happening, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely.
And Bucky, he says, is it true Coinbase is the same as Robinhood? You don't really own the coins. I would say that is correct. Yes.
What the main difference is, you can take them off of Coinbase.
Right? Okay. Yeah.
Versus Robinhood, there's no way to get your coins off of there. So yeah, it is an IOU until you take it off the exchange.
Yeah, because if you leave it on Coinbase, they're not your coins technically, really.
Right.
Because if something were to go down, you're out of luck, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
The bank.
I always make that, like, because with Coinbase, I use Coinbase Pro. You can get them off within like 7 days. Like you can fund it, you can trade with it, and then like in 7 days, like it clears. And that's when I always just move it to my Trezor. It's like just getting into that habit of like, okay, I'm always going to be
smart man.
So I listen to smart people.
There you go.
And Brian, what would be a decent market cap to review value? Customers buy NCT and they have at least 1 million in revenue 2020.
So right now, just to let you guys know, the market cap of Polyswarm is about $153 million, and it looks like about 80% of its circulating supply is out. So I mean, when we take a look at the market cap, right, we have to take a look more at the fundamentals of the project and kind of see like, okay, how much traction can they get? And I'm not sure what their use case is. So like how much revenue they're bringing in or what actually they're trying to do. So that's something we could definitely answer within the crypto mindset course itself, but we'd have to do a little bit of a deep dive into the coin itself to see, okay, what's the growth potential of this coin? But right now, if it's ranked about number 367, so basically we'd want to see it get into the top 200. And if that was the case, then what you can do is you can go and take a look at the market cap of any of these coins in the top 200 and see, okay, if Polyswarm, based on its limited number of coins, because it does have a limitation, it looks like of about 1.8 billion, it looks like here, coins. Once that threshold is hit and it gets into the top 200, you can basically, market cap is just basically an equation to do with its price and the number of coins that are out there. You can do the math on that. You can try to see, okay, if it gets into that area, how much will the price be? And then you can, that's basically what we call moon math. So we can moon math the Polyswarm form there in the course.
One more super chat. Thank you having Charlie and Miguel on. Sterling, great to see three objective guys who simply want the best for us. And look, here's the thing, guys. Like, I've seen a couple of like negative comments in the chat here. Like my personal opinion to anyone who's like saying that. Look. There was a comment here like, porn stars shilling crypto. We're in a bubble. I'm like, I've been in crypto longer than this. Like, and that's the thing. It's like you do not have to jump into this, but if you guys want to learn about cryptocurrency, want to learn how to make money in cryptocurrency, the link's in the chat right now. Sign up for the goddamn course, because I don't care how much this course costs. You're going to make the goddamn money back. This is the biggest no-brainer you could possibly present. And it's like, this is the single greatest money-making opportunity that we have ever seen in our lifetimes. This is it. This is kind of like being in the .com bubble in the 1990s, like where we are kind of right now with like Web 3.0 and blockchain and stuff. This is kind of where we are. Like, there's going to be millionaires and billionaires made during this time in our life, and there's going to be a whole bunch of people who sat around doing nothing
right here.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be a whole bunch of people sitting around like in 5-10 years time being like, oh man, I probably should have listened to Charlie and Miguel. Well, now's your fucking chance.
Well, and here's the thing I'll say to that comment as well. The last time we came on your channel, right, I think was December of 2020, basically when Bitcoin was still under $20,000.
Yep.
So, every time Sterling steals crypto, it's basically going to pump. So there you go.
Exactly. And what I'll do this one last quick super chat from Bucky. Has anyone lost money and not even made back the money that they invested into the course?
Right. Basically,
the answer to that question has to do with like how much, like, do they actually take action? Is the first.
Correct. So there's some people, right, who go against the advice, or they basically run and start doing their own shit, right? So of course, if you don't listen to what we've prescribed, then of course you have it's a volatile market. It's a roller coaster. It's dangerous. We tell you basically, Surgeon General's warning: don't do this stuff, right? But some people are, no matter what you say, they're going to go out and do it. So there is a level of self-responsibility that needs to be taken. So we really want people who are self-sufficient, people who are willing to basically bank themselves, and people who are willing to take on that risk. But we do say, if you listen to the portfolio that we recommend each quarter, basically you have over a 90% chance to be making profits. And also the other principle that you do have to remember, because this is crypto mindset, right? So it's about how to think in the proper way to make money with cryptocurrency long term. So if you do get in here, it's a long-term savings account, and you listen to our advice, and then you're never going to lose money until you decide to sell, right? So you haven't made or lost anything. So some people are like, how much have you made? Well, if you haven't sold, right, you haven't made money either. And so you basically, you got to come in, be willing to do the work, listen to the information, ask questions, and just don't get into too many, shit coins. Essentially, we want you to get into quality projects, and we give you the tools so that you can then go out there and do your own research as well and get into quality projects.
Exactly. It's don't get seduced by as much as I talked about shitcoins a minute ago. Don't get seduced by the hype of that. Understand the fundamentals first before you even start playing around with that kind of stuff. That's a very important principle. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming on, guys. Once again, if anyone watching, the link is down below in the chat, and the link is in the description down below as well. They have until the 16th. Is that correct? To sign up for the course?
Exactly. The 16th, which is Sunday at midnight Pacific Standard Time. Get in or have fun staying poor.
Excellent. All right. Thank you once again for joining me, Charlie, joining me, Miguel. So always a pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
And for everyone else, we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.